Hi everyone, it's Lori from Crystal Earth Magic, and I'm back with another amazing BQH quantum healing session that I want to share with you. This one is really fun, and again, amazingly specific information for the client. We had a lot of fun with this one, so I will proceed. So she comes into the scene, and the first thing she sees, she says, "I'm flying around Saturn as a fairy. It's so sparkly. I just keep flying around the rings. I have pink hair, a powder blue sparkly dress, and my wings are they're so beautiful because the light is bouncing off the wings and they're just sparkling and lighting up the sky." And I ask, "Do you live here? That's beautiful." "No, I'm just visiting." "What are you visiting for?" "Because I just wanted to fly." "What are you going to do now that you're there on Saturn?" "I'm going to find some of my friends." "Do you have friends that live on Saturn?" "Yes, I believe I do." "Let's go look. I wonder where they are." "I'm looking for my red-headed friend because we get into trouble together. Not real bad trouble, just mischief." "Partners in mischief?" "Yes." "Sounds like fun." "We always hang out around the rings. We never actually go to the actual planet itself." And I asked, "Is there a reason for that?" "We just like it out here better." And they're giggling. She's giggling. "Do you see your friend yet?" "Yes, she's making me giggle. She's making me laugh." "What are you guys going to do now?" "I think we'll go someplace else. It's time to visit someplace else." "Well, let's see where you're going." "She's whispering in my ear, and where does she want to go?" "Oh, she wants to go somewhere where we can plant our feet on the earth." "Okay. And how do you get there? Do you fly?" "Oh, definitely." "Does it take a long time?" "No. And we hold hands when we're flying." "Beautiful. So, okay, you're coming to Earth?" "Yeah, that's what it feels like. There's a very special tree that was in my front yard growing up, and we want to go visit and sit under it for a while because that tree has so many stories to tell." And so I move her forward to the time when she is at her destination at the tree on the earth. And she says, "Oh, there's a little doorway at the bottom of the tree that I've never seen before." And I ask, "A new fairy door?" She says, "Yes, it's time to travel. It's time to open the door and see what's inside." "Oh, it's filled with animals. There's rabbits, there's cats, there's dogs, there's horses, all the different farm animals, and all the little woodland creatures, chipmunks, squirrels. Oh, my friend with the red hair, I still don't know her name yet, is going to gather some nuts so we can feed them, because in this place they're all friendly. We can pick them up, we can hug them, we can love them. And they love when we come to visit because we sprinkle fairy dust on all the food. It makes it taste better." She says, "Oh, it's magical here. There's plush green moss on the floor, and there's lights everywhere, fairy sparkling lights everywhere. So we're not the only two here." And I asked, "Who else is there?" She said, "I see a brunette fairy with pink. We never met before. I think I've met the blonde fairy with the green clothes on, but I don't remember her name either, because we kind of just connect consciously. We don't really have names. We just are beings together." And I asked if she was on the earth. "It feels like we're on the earth, but we're inside of the tree, so maybe it's a kind of like another dimension." "Does it look like the tree in the yard where you thought?" "The inside of the tree, yes. The outside of the tree is definitely still in the yard. And I thought it was which is my front yard as a child. But the inside of the tree is like a totally different place." And I asked, "Another portal, another dimension?" She's giggling. She says, "It's kind of a party. That's the way it is here all of the time. That's why people love to come here. There's nothing but happiness and joy. And there's no fighting and there's no drama. Everybody just lives together peacefully. Some of the fairies do live here. The animals are always here. They come and go because they've got to go out and find food for their families, even though we're giving them a whole bunch of treats while we're here." And I asked, "So when they come in the fairy world, they're in another place?" She said, "Yes. It's a very special place for everyone to come. I don't ever want to leave this place. It makes me smile. There's so many colors in here, and there's crystals hanging from, it's like a tree in a tree. There's like trees inside the tree, and all the trees have beautiful, beautiful crystals hanging from them. And when the fairies fly by the crystals and they tap on them, they make the most beautiful music. It almost brings tears to my eyes. It's extremely healing. It's like a constant, beautiful concert happening all of the time, but it's not annoying. And I said, wow, just the perfect vibration for everyone. That's amazing. She said, for everybody. And I asked, well, why would you ever want to leave this place? And she said, because there's other things to do. I said, what makes you decide to leave? She says, my redheaded friend is tugging on my hand and says we've got other things we've got to do. We've got to go to other places and help other people. Said, okay, so let's go to one of those places. This is the time when you decide that beautiful magical tree area that we're going to move you ahead to another important day or place. So we move her ahead, and all of a sudden she comes out in a completely different scene. She says, okay, we're in the Old West. Lots of lanterns, dim candlelights, but I'm not a fairy anymore. I'm a woman, but I'm dressed in men's clothing. So not a skirt, but clothing that I would wear to ride a horse. There's horses all around. Oh, there's my beautiful Clydesdale. But it's not a really good horse for riding, but she's my girl. And I said, is that your horse? Yes, that's my horse. We need to go out. I need to get on her, and we need to go somewhere. There's people that need help in the next village over, and I'm the healer. I'm the helper. Someone is having a baby in the next village over, and I guess I'm the lady that's chosen to do that. They know me around here as someone that can help with these things. So I better get moving over there. And it's an Indian woman that's having a baby because she's in a teepee. And I asked if there was a problem. She said, no, it's just all of their beautiful ways of looking at life and how earth heals, things from the earth heal people, and their spirituality, and there's other children around with their beautiful dark black hair. It's all braided. There's 3 children that belong to this woman. She's having her 4th, and she has 3 girls, and she's hoping that this new one is going to be a boy. Oh, and there's Dad standing at the opening of the teepee with his arms crossed, looking like he's angry. But I don't think he's angry. He's very high up in the tribe. So he's always got a stern look on his face. Oh, I see a little twinkle in his eye. So he's excited to see what this birth is going to be all about. And I asked if everything was going well. Everything's going perfectly fine. So the kids are standing around waiting to see. Mom is actually handling everything very, very well. She's got a beautiful white squaw leather dress on. And I said, she's giving birth in a white dress? She said she's giving birth in a white dress because she's so strong. She's so strong. She's been through a lot of things. She's not that old, so she was a young mother, but she loves all of her children. Okay, you know what? I think it might be time to deliver this baby here, and let's get it done. She's not even screaming. Her fists are clenched, but she's hardly even sweating. I'm holding her hand. One of her hands. I'm like, honey, I got to go down there and get this baby delivered for you. I really can't hold your hand right now. So, okay. So here we go. One last big push. Breathe. Everybody breathe, breathe, breathe. And she's got her boy. And I said, it's a boy. She said she's got her boy. Everybody is just jubilated, especially Sternface with his big headdress. Oh my goodness. He's got beautiful beading and headdress on. He just turned around so no one could see his face because he doesn't want anyone to see how excited he really is that he's going to have another and that he's going to have a son that can make his way up through the tribe and to be someone very special. He's going to be someone very special that that the entire tribe is going to respect. And an eagle just flew over. And I said, that's a beautiful, auspicious omen, is it not? She said, yes. I asked, how old are you in this lifetime? I'm young, early 30s. Wow, I don't know how I learned all this stuff being so young. And I asked who taught her. Who taught me? My father. I asked if he was a doctor. She said something like that. To refer to them as a doctor, quote unquote, but back in those days, we had to forage for what we needed to heal people. Were you part of this tribe? Not part of the Indian tribe, no, but they were very close. They were very close to our town, so we did get to interact with them a little bit and learn some of the ways that they do things. So I said, you were not an indigenous person in this lifetime? And she said, no, no, no. But my family also taught me how to forage for plants and trial and error to see what worked. And when people were sick or just needed help with healing, and we were able to find a lot of things there. A lot of things too, when times got lean and there wasn't a lot of food, we could forage for plants that had like nuts that were underneath the greenery in the ground. If we dried them out, they were good sources of protein. So we kind of developed a lot of those kind of things in that time that are somewhat lost now. So I said, so it's interesting that the Indian tribe called you to come help. Don't they have their own healer? And she said, he's too old. He's too old right now. He has a hard time moving around. And I said, so they don't have anyone to replace him yet? And she said, not yet. They haven't been taught all the things that he knows. And I said, but you can do it? And she said, but I can do it. So every once in a while, they do call me over there to help. A special relationship with all of them, even though we don't necessarily speak the same language. I know simple phrases. I said, well, that sounds very interesting. And so now we're going to move her ahead to another important day in that life. And she says, I'm back out in the stars again. I said, back in the stars, are you floating free? I'm floating free, but I don't know where I am. Are you still in a body? Yes, I feel like I'm back in my fairy body. Okay, so what happens? Have you left the life as the healer? No, that's just not the same person. So she's a little confused here, like a bunch of stuff is happening at once. She says, I'm having a hard time seeing myself. You know what? Now I'm on a ship. I said, well, what kind of ship? She says, it's a starship. I can see the shape of it. It's shaped like a stink bug that, it looks like a shield. That's the main compartment where me and my co-pilot are sitting. He's a man with dark hair. I'm having a hard time telling whether he's human or not. He could be another race. I asked, are you the pilot? She said, I am the pilot. I said, can you tell if you're human? I don't look 100% human. So here, people come into the scene and they're not sure, and then it dawns on them more of the details. And she begins to describe, I don't look 100% human. I said, look down at your hands. What do your hands look like? Very long, long fingers, but not so long they look creepy. How many? There's 5 fingers on each hand, but they're just long and thin. I said, what color is your skin? Green. Do you have any clothing or spacesuit? Yes, it's definitely a spacesuit. It's silver with a medallion on the left. It's not a communicator. It's just the symbol of our race. And my ears are slightly pointed, but not really pointy. A long face, but not unattractively long. Everything is longer and thinner and leaner, but it's not. It's all in proportion. I'm not an uber tall being, but everything, my face, my hands, my feet, all feel elongated a little bit. And we're just out here doing patrol. And I asked, oh, do you know where you're flying? She said, a science mission. To go see, I had to go. I don't know what planet. We're going to another planet to see what kind of foliage is growing there, to see if we can use it in any way on our planet. And I asked, do you know what your planet is? She said, no. That's pretty common. A lot of times planets aren't singled out. Sometimes they are, but more frequently they're not singled out in these sessions for whatever reason. So do you know what your planet is? No, but I got to tell you, it's pretty fun zipping around in this little spaceship here. I said, is it just you or your co-pilot? She says, yes, it's just me and my co-pilot. We got a little bit of storage so we can bring things back with us, but it's not a huge starship. It's a smaller patrol type ship, and it's extremely peaceful out here. There are no wars happening on any of the planets that are around us, and we are scientists going out to find things, going to look for things, and to see what new things we can discover. And I said, looking at your co-pilot, is it a he? Does he look like you? She said, yes, he does. So do you have the same face? So you have the same race? Yes, I think we're the same race, but for whatever reason, his skin has a little bit more of a purple tinge to it. I said, okay, do you know if you're male or female? I feel female. I was going to say, if you even have a gender. Okay, have you been doing this for a long time? I asked. She says yes, because I had to work my way up the ranks. Because, when you start out, you have to pay your dues. I have to learn a lot. Being a scientist, going to school on my home planet, I can see it, but I just don't know what it's called. I can see the city on the planet, and it's beautiful, tall, cobalt blue, crystalline structures that are where we would learn things. So like the main, almost like the capital of that particular planet. And it's just beautiful walking in there. It was beautiful when I was there, kind of like university, I guess. It was a beautiful place to learn because there's so much. There were so many crystals there, and we could learn about the crystals, how we could use them in our ships and to heal people and places to grow things. Not places to grow things inside, but the foliage outside was just so lush and thick that it was a great place to learn because there were so many different things there. And I asked if she mainly focuses on plants in her work. She said yes. And I said, do you go back to the planet in between missions? She said yes. I said, do you stay away for a long time? Not too long, a week at a time maybe. And I said, okay. Now she's giggling. And she said, there's an adorable little creature, hard to describe, that's on the ship with us. It's like a pet in a little ball. I don't even know what the ball is made of. It's so the pet can breathe, okay, in the ship. And she's still giggling. It's just little. It kind of looks like a squirrel or a chipmunk, but he's looking up at me with these eyes that are just so adoring, and he's so excited to be on another mission with us. My co-pilot is very quiet. I said, okay, very serious? Shy. Okay, but you two get along well? Yes, we do. We work well together. Have you been working together a long time? No. Are you the senior member? I'm the senior member, telling him what to do, and she's laughing. I think he likes me all right. I don't think he thinks I'm too bossy or controlling or anything. I said, okay, it helps when you're having fun. That's wonderful. And so now we're going to move ahead again to another important day in this life. And once again, she leapfrogged out of this life and into another one. And I said, well, what's happening? She says, I'm standing on the shore. And I said, the shore of what? A beautiful ocean. I'm a mermaid. I said, oh, so you've left that life already and you're a mermaid? She said, yes. And there I have long red hair. And there are, mermaids have a song. There's lots of mermaids singing that sad song. And I said, is it sad? She says, yes, it is sad right now. I said, why are they sad? Because the old whale king has passed on. Did he live a long time? Yes, he taught us everything that we know. He must have been very wise. Yes, he was very, very wise. And he wasn't a blue whale or a sperm whale. He was actually a killer whale. He brought everyone together. At one point, we weren't all united, but he managed to unite everybody. Can you tell where you are? Are you on Earth? I feel like, it feels like San Francisco to me. But a long time ago, and everybody is, all of the mermaids and mermen, and they're all gathered in a circle around this great king. And we are mourning. But we know that the future will be okay because he taught us everything that we know, and his soul was beautiful. And I said, well, that's beautiful. Do you know that you're speaking through a human body right now? I mean, she was so immersed in these characters sometimes, and she did know she was speaking through a human body. And I said, this human body asked the question why she feels so melancholy when she's near the water, especially the ocean. And the mermaid said, well, this is why. And I said, well, what do you think as the mermaid? What does she say? What do you say? And she starts to cry. Whenever a big outpouring of emotion happens, it's always a healing point. It's a major healing point for the clients. Something from past lifetimes, repressed thing, it doesn't matter. There's always a release that is very, very healing when emotion comes out like this. So she's crying all of a sudden. And she said, this person, this whale king was my father. And I asked, he's your father? So were you part whale and part mermaid? And she said, I don't know. That doesn't make sense, does it? And I said, that's okay. She said, I think maybe. Okay, now it's starting to make more sense. I was not a hybrid between a whale and a mermaid, but I did not know my father. My father was not part of my life. So he stepped in to be my mentor and my father growing up as a mermaid. So the whale became her father. I said, well, that's beautiful. That certainly makes sense. So that's a beautiful memory. So when she gets melancholy by the water, and we'll call her Jenny, when Jenny gets melancholy by the water, now it's an honor and a memory of your whale king father? And she said, yes. Wow. So that's a beautiful thing. That turns it to happiness, I said. And Jenny says, yes, because he deserved to be honored. Wow, beautiful being. She said, but I'm glad I came back here, but I'm ready. It's like I don't want to stay. And I said, as a mermaid? And she says, yes. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Let's move ahead to when you decide to leave the earth plane in this life. So moving her ahead to the last day of her life as a mermaid. And so once again, she leapfrogged. She says, I'm in an old car, an old red car. And I said, okay, what happened to the mermaid? So one of her questions was, did she die in a motor vehicle accident in another life? So it seemed as if she was flipping into that life. But we wanted to see what happened at the end of this life and not go into that right away. That's just what I was guided to do. So we went back to the last day of the mermaid's life. Just rewind time, go back there. And there was actually a lot more to the story that needed to be told. So she comes back into the scene and she said, oh, she actually had many children. They're all standing around a beautiful, it's like a casket, but it's not a casket. It's like the plant life under the ocean. And she's laying gently on there and she's passed on. She just lived a beautiful long life and she was just old. And I said, so did she decide when she left? Yes. I said, so how does that feel to be able to decide when you leave your body? And she said, amazing. I said, so you decided it was time. And she said, yes, because she passed on her father's knowledge to all of her children. And so all those things were now known on how to keep peace, joy, love, harmony, to live that way. And she was confident that her children would carry on those things. And I said, how long did she live? She was hundreds of years old. It was just time. It was just time. I said, well, that's beautiful. So we're going to go to where she passes from the body. What happens as she passes? And she says, I can see her spirit rise, and it's her younger self. That younger self is flying up out of the water, and it's going into space. And I said, so I want you to go ahead and follow that. And how does that feel? And where do you go as you leave that body? And she says, we're back at Saturn again. She just turns into a beautiful light being at that point. And I said, well, how does that feel? Does it feel good to be out of the body? And she said, it feels like everything. Everything is just exploding, like in a wonderful way. It's like 100% total freedom to come and go anywhere. Not that she loved being in the water. But now this is like 100% freedom where she doesn't have to spend all of her time in the water. And I asked, well, how long do you stay there? She said, at Saturn? I said, yeah. No, but being free, exploring the universe, all of it. She said, I can go anywhere I want, whenever I want, now. So how long do you stay in that phase? Do you do that for a long time? She says, forever. I said, forever? Yeah. I said, well, that's amazing. She says, there's nothing now that I can't do. I said, is there anyone there with you? No, I'm by myself at the moment. I said, does it feel lonely? No, because I'm connected to all the other consciousness of everybody else who has been, that has chosen to be an eternal light being. And I asked, why would you ever want to leave that stage? She says, it's so beautiful right here, right now. Again, it's bringing tears. And she started to cry again. I said, well, that's beautiful. It's good to remember that all of that is there, that you're connected to that at all times. You never really leave there. And she says, you're never lonely. I said, so what we really want to do, what makes you want to come into a body again? How do you know when it's time? And she said, because there's stuff, there's things to do, that the body, that 3D body, because there's so many people that can only still relate to that 3D body, that you have to be in that form in order to help people move on, to become eternal light beings and understanding, and that's the only way that they can relate to you. I said, yeah, there's a lot of people stuck here. Yes. And I want to take as many people with us as we can. And I said, yeah, so they can remember. So you just know when it's time. She said, yeah. I mean, it's like calling. You could hear the calling. It's time to come help. And I said, so you hear this calling and you decide to come help. So I want to explore what happens before you come into that body of Jenny. And so you're hearing this calling, and now you're going to be planning, getting ready to go, getting ready for everything. So we wanted to move her to the time right before she prepared to come into the life as Jenny. So we moved there. Well, she didn't quite move there, but we don't know it yet. So she says, oh, the planning phase is the green scientist. I said, okay, so you're with the scientist? She says, I am the scientist. We're prepping our mission. Okay. I said, is it you and the same co-pilot? Yeah. So you're both coming to Earth together? Yes. Are there others of your race around you? Yes. And are you still in the small craft or are you on a mothership now? I'm still in the small craft, but the mothership is right ahead. Okay, so tell me, what do you do to prepare? She says, we've been preparing for months. We heard the calling, and I was the one, okay, come on, we got to go, get going, we got to go now, we got to go now. And I don't want to call him a king, but basically the head of our race was like, take a deep breath, we have to do this the right way. You know, people down in 3D are not ready for us yet. I asked, have you been to Earth before? At this point, I had not been to Earth yet. So this is going to be your first? She says, this is my first mission to Earth. I asked, have you been to other planets and in other bodies? She said she didn't know. I said, okay, so what do you do to prepare? We do a lot of us were gathered on the home planet trying to learn more about the human race and how they process things and how they act. We learned about their history so that we could effectively come down here and heal the collective together. And I can already see some of their faces when they first see the ship. And the ship looks like black tourmaline. I said, this is your ship? The mothership looks like black tourmaline. I said, that's beautiful. So now what happens? So we're sitting here, and we're sitting out here, everybody from my planet that has decided to come to Earth. I asked if there are a lot of them. She said, yes, there's a bunch of them. The mothership is obviously huge, but I can just see a trail of thousands of smaller ships getting ready to come to Earth. I said, so the mothership takes you near Earth, and then the little ships get you to where you're going? And she said, because the mothership can't land on Earth, it's too big. So do the ships land, or do you come in through a human? That's what we were trying to gather. She said, okay, no, they actually still land like the old-fashioned way that you would think, wouldn't be happening. But they do. The little ships land. I said, okay, and then what happens? How do they come into the human collective? Do they walk into bodies? Are they born into bodies the human way? How does that work? And she said, they stay the way they are. I said, are they physical? She said, well, I mean, I feel physical, but we can assimilate to the oxygen and everything of Earth. So basically, I feel like the people on Earth have been told we're coming to help because they're not afraid of us. And I said, well, what time period is this on Earth? And she said, now. And I said, okay, because I'm curious as to how Jenny becomes Jenny. So how did that happen? How long ago did you decide, and how long have you been involved on Earth? When did you decide to come into this body that you're speaking through? And she says, into this body here? I really don't feel like it was that long ago. Wait. Maybe I'm confusing because I feel like I'm having a discussion with our commander, who's the head honcho. Oh, I can see where we're sitting. I think I was crossing maybe 2 timelines here. Because the commander is asking me if I want to go to Earth to be a humanoid to help the humans. And I said, so what happens? I was hesitant at first, like, what? And I asked, why? Why do I have to go in that form as opposed to the way I am now? And I said, the way that you guys had been doing? And he said, yeah. He just politely, he was he was very loving, knowledgeable man as well, who had watched all of this transpire over thousands of years. And he felt that this was the most gentle way to get people, to get the buy-in of the 3D humans, was to take on their form. I said, so when your kind comes down with a higher vibration, sometimes they get stuck, don't they? And she said they can. And that's why I think a lot of them are hesitant. So starseeds. I said, do you come in and incur karma just like regular human beings? And she said, I don't feel like we do. That's another thing reported all the way back from Dolores Cannon's things through, the modern day techniques that we're all doing now, is that a lot of these starseeds come in with a mission and they don't incur karma. Otherwise, they wouldn't have wanted to come. They kind of have like a Teflon coating where the karma doesn't stick. So interesting. Some do, some don't. So, okay. So I asked, do you think you're free from karma? And she said, I don't feel any karmic attachments at all. It's okay. So let's follow you coming into the body of Jenny. So when you were planning, did you plan lessons for yourself? And she's laughing. She said, no, it was kind of like, I don't feel like the planning was. I just feel like it was slam dunk. Here you go. Trial and error. Figure it out. I said, okay, do you feel like you've been here before, though, in human form? And she's a little confused. There's several timelines, and you'll see this is a theme going through this. Like she was in a bunch of different places at once. Really interesting. She says, no, right now I don't feel like I've been here before. Like this was the first go around, and being born sucked. And she's laughing again. She says, because that's not what we're used to at all. I said, well, can you feel yourself coming into the body that way? She said, yeah. So, okay. And she says, yeah. And the human parents that I was given were really delightful. So I got lucky there. I said, well, maybe you planned it all, of course. And she says, it's possible it was planned, but right now I don't remember the planning phase. I said, okay, that's all right. What I'd like to do now is talk to your higher self. And so what I would like to do is ask that the consciousness of Jenny step aside a little bit. Is that okay with you? She said, sure. So we asked her to step aside, kind of put her a little deeper into trance, and asking that her higher self or someone that could help us answer questions would come through. And we have a hello. All of a sudden there's hello. And I said, to whom am I speaking? I'm expecting the higher self. She says, you're speaking to Lyra. So Lyra is someone she had a question about. It was a beautiful star being or guide that came to her during one of our Stargate meditations at my office that we frequently have. And so she had never contacted her again. She'd never been in contact with her again, despite all the meditations. So here in comes Lyra. When we're asking for the higher self, here she comes. So you never know what's going to happen. She says, you're speaking to Lyra. It's almost like Lyra was surprised that she was coming through as well. And I said, well, hello, Lyra. She says, hello. I said, what's going on, Lyra? Can you tell us about yourself? How are you connected with Jenny? Right now, I'm not sure, she says. She's confused coming into a 3D body. Okay, give it a moment. It can be a bit disconcerting to come through a human form. You know you're talking through a human form? And she says, yeah, I'm definitely not human. I said, where are you from? Lyra. They named me after the system. I said, do you still live in the Lyran system? Yes. Do you know what planet you live on? No. So that's okay. What do you do? I'm on some sort of council. Do you live in a physical body or a light body? A light body. Okay. Can you describe what you look like? Very pale skin, long, thick hair. I have a crown on even though I'm in a light body. I'm confused right now. Oh, you're confused? It's okay, I said. She said, I'm not sure where I am. Well, what does it feel like around you? Space. Is it dark? Is it light? It's dark. Do you see stars? Oh, yes. Are you in a ship? No. You're just out there? Yes. Are you alone? Yes. Do you feel alone? Yes. Did something happen? She said, I don't feel very joyous right at the moment. I said, okay. She says, it's unlike me. I asked, did something happen that you're by yourself and you're not feeling joyful? Something did happen, but I don't remember what it is. Have you been there a long time? Yes. By yourself in space? No. My home planet was full of joy. Something happened that made me want to escape out here. I said, so you escaped? To get away from it. Okay. She said, this is the perfect place to get away from it. And this is the perfect place where I can come because it's quiet. Can you go back to your home planet? Yes. Well, how long do you have to wait? I can go back whenever I want. I said, but is something still happening there that's scary? She says, it's not scary. It makes me feel sad. I said, I wonder what's going on there. She said, I feel like it was some type of extermination or something of animals. I said, why would they do that? She said it was an attack from another race because they knew how much we loved them and they wanted to get back at us for some reason, but I don't know why. Now, in this existence, Jenny is a big animal lover, does a lot of work with animals, has a lot of animals, communicates with animals, is all about the animals. And so this is a very lovely correlation here. And you can see that it perpetuates through all lifetimes. Okay, so I said, she said it was an attack from another race. They knew how much we loved them and they wanted to get back at us for some reason, but I don't know why. I said, well, sometimes there isn't a reason that makes sense, but it makes you sad. And so you tried to escape to space. She said, because I escaped to space off planet because I can hear myself think up here. I said, well, what's going to happen now? She says, I'm going to go back and see if I can figure out a way to bring back the species because they brought so much joy to our people. I said, well, what happens with the beings that came and did that? She says, I'm pretty sure our High Council has already dealt with them. I said, okay, so let's have you float back to the planet then and see what you plan to do. She says, I've got a mission now. So what's your mission? I'm going to figure out a way to bring them back. I said, bring them back? She says, I'm wondering, and she's laughing again. She says, I'm wondering, somebody's got the seed or the DNA or whatever it may be tucked away somewhere, and I just need to find it. I just need to figure out who the right people are. So it's okay, so let's move ahead and see if you were successful. And she says, I'm feeling much happier, so I think I was. It's all right. So let's keep moving time ahead to find out what it was, to find if it was successful. And so I said, you're already there, it seems. She says, it took me 5 years. So we moved ahead 5 years. I said, are they all back? And she said, I can see them all. And she's crying with joy. I said, well, that's wonderful. Congratulations. And then she describes them. They're all different colors and they make the sweetest little noise. And we can carry them around. They're small, so we can carry them around in our pockets, or they can't come out to space with us, though. That's okay. I said, well, they'll be there when you get back. She said, yes, so I guess I'm kind of a scientist in this realm as well. I said, well, that's amazing. So do you know that you're connected with Jenny? And she said, yes, I came to show her. I said, she wondered about that. Can you tell her about that? She said, the reason that I came to her, and she's laughing, is to show her that everything is going to be okay. Now she's crying. She said, and that all the animals will never be extinct, because it's something that really upsets Jenny. She worries about every little animal. So Lyra goes on to describe this. She says, I said, because if something goes extinct, there's DNA for that. And Lyra says, there's things that we can always find to bring them back. And she's still crying, like joyfully. And I said, well, that's beautiful because she does suffer, meaning Jenny. She worries about the animals. And Lyra says she does. I said, so you're here to show her that? Yeah, I'm here to show her that with perseverance, and in all honesty, what I forget to say sometimes is that they turn into light beings too, and that they're eternal. And I said, yes, that's wonderful. Is that the main reason you came to her? Yes. What relationship do you have together? I feel like I'm one of her guardians. Oh, a guardian. How does that work? I watch from afar because she's, on Earth in her 3D body doing her mission. And I watch from afar and just come in, and she's laughing. She's actually only heard me that one time during that Stargate. I'm hoping that I can get her to reach out more when she needs help dealing with the animal thing. And I said, I just think you told her. And I think that's perfect, Lyra. I said, can you answer some questions for Jenny? And she said, I will try. So, we're here and this is a great connection. So let's go for it. Right. So I said, that was one of the questions. She wondered about you coming to her during that meditation. And that's wonderful. I said, she wonders about her lineage through the galaxy and through the universe. Do you know some of that connection? And she says, I don't really know that much about the lineage. I know that I was chosen to be her guardian. I said, who chooses? She says, our High Council. I said, where's the High Council from? Lyra. Okay, any particular part of Lyra? Is it a council or of the star system? She says it's a pretty big council. I said, a big council, I'll bet Lyra is very big. She said, I feel honored that I was actually given the name of Lyra because our star system is so vast and huge, and it was definitively an honor for me to carry this name, and my star council is telling me that Jenny is special in a certain kind of way. I said, what else do they say? How is she special? We know that she is, but it will help her a lot to hear it. She's got the wherewithal and the heart and the soul, and there's so many other things, to be able to do certain things that not all humans would be able to do. And I said, she's had a lot of experience throughout this universe, hasn't she? And she says, very much so. Seen a lot of different things, whether they be good, bad, but she's always been able to look at things using words from the 3D realm to look at things with the glass half full positive outcomes. And those are the kinds of things that the 3D humans need right now. I said, yeah, and she's aware of that people are always seeking her out for comfort, for wisdom, for advice, especially when they're stressed out or grieving. Has she done this before? Is this her role in the future? Can you share? And she said, I believe she's going to have a more prominent role in the future with this. And I said, so if she chooses to do this, then that road will be open for her? Definitely. I said, okay, what will that involve? And she said, preparing the human heart for the heartache. But she will be able to bring that peace and that light to situations people have a hard time dealing with, like loss. Like the grief that she had talked about. She talked about helping people at end of life, helping them with grief. She's always instrumental in helping people in that way. Said yes, and by the time she's ready to do this, people will really have more of a grasp that light beings are eternal. That's part of what she's here to teach. I said, is that time coming soon? She said, I believe it is. So, okay. So she talked about wanting to work with especially the dying, the families being that bridge. She said, yes. And the people that are, should I say, the older people that are now passing, they already know. It's their families that don't know. I said, so it's no coincidence that she ended up working in an end of life kind of role now in nursing homes. She said, absolutely not. I said, it's always funny how the universe works. She says, every point gets you to where you're supposed to be. And I said, yeah, that's beautiful. So she's got some more questions if you could answer them for her, Lyra. She said, okay, let's do it. So, okay, so you already kind of addressed a lot of these. She feels such a strong connection with the animals. You talked about this lifetime where you were instrumental in working with the animals. We've met some of her other lifetimes where she was instrumental in working with plants and animals. Can you tell us more about that? What role will she play with the animals? And Lyra's laughing, and she says she's just going to work towards continuing to save as many as she possibly can and making sure they all feel love, joy, happiness, they have full bellies, even if that means on 3D Earth building shelters for them. They seem to gather around her in that specific. They know that they can come to her and feel all the wonderful things that even when they're afraid of humans, they still feel it from her, and they're not as afraid. It's still going to take a little bit to toughen her up her heart a little bit more because the loss of one is still hard to swallow, but she has improved with that a lot. And I said, and I think that's a very important thing because it does hurt her. She takes it all in. And on an intellectual level, she does understand everything you're saying about the light. Everybody is eternal in the light bodies, and the animals are too. And Lyra says, yes. I said, so the fact that you have said that to her I think is going to be very helpful. Is there a way that we can bring some healing to her heart for all of this to help her carry this burden in this life? She says, definitely. I said, are you able to do that? She said, yes, I will definitely. She says, there's something now. And again, she's a little confused being in the 3D body, and she'll explain it. There's something now that I realize more, that it's not a huge, I don't want to. And I said, she feels it. She said she feels it. She definitely improved. But now that I know that I need to work on that a little bit more, I will certainly send healing and ask my race, my closest friends, who are also assisting me with the animals up here, to help with sending her love. And I said, let's do that right now if we can. And she said, can I get back to home base, to the planet? And I said, well, whatever you need to do, Lyra, you can still connect with us, right? She said, I can still connect. It's a conscious connection. You know what? Sometimes when I'm talking through a 3D being, it kind of knocks my consciousness down a little bit. Yeah, really, no kidding. And I've got to remember that I can still connect with my race consciously, and we can do this together. I have 3 friends that I have in mind right now that I'm going to connect with and ask them to do that with me. And I said, oh, perfect. Let's all connect and we'll all be in a very high frequency together. And she said, I can feel it already. I said, great. And to do that, I'm also going to, if it's okay with you, bring in a beam of source light, which I did. She said, oh, wonderful. So we're bringing in the source light. We're asking for source light right now to come in through her physical crown, move throughout her body and energy field. It's this perfect white photonic light with every color in it, and it's coming through, and that'll help boost whatever you're doing, Lyra. And if you can just kind of tell me what you're doing, because I'm always curious. And she says, we're actually consciously in a circle together, holding hands. And where we sing, it's not actual words. It's a tone and a frequency that is so beautiful that it's almost like an automatic healing and I know that Jenny loves music. And so I figured this would be one of the most perfect ways to heal would be to send beautiful musical frequencies to her. I said, oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. And in the room, I could almost feel and hear the crystalline tones. It's really kind of cool when that happens. And she says, yes, every single time it amazes me that we can do this. And I said, yes, like the crystals in this room are vibrating. I can feel them. She said, it's not only the frequencies, it's also colors that emanate from those frequencies, that it's just beautiful. And we've been given this gift to be able to give to other people. I said, and Lyra, while you're doing that and healing her heart, can I ask another question? She said, of course. I said, Jenny has had diabetes since a very young age. And so I asked, can we heal her diabetes? What is that from? Do you know? And she says, that one's a little more difficult. I said, well, can you explain? Can you explain where it comes from and why? Was it something she chose? She says she didn't choose it, but it was something that came from some treatment or something in her childhood. So what treatment was that? I asked. She said, I believe it was what was presented as your typical treatment for children on Earth. And I said, vaccines? She said, yes, there was a bad batch. Well, they're all bad. And I said, a worse batch? She said, yeah, something a little bit worse, and it triggered that. I said, because she was so sensitive? She said, oh, yes. Not only because she was a sensitive child with regard, not physical, but she wasn't overly emotional either. I just sometimes wonder if it was a burden to show other people how they can deal with their chronic illnesses before she can heal herself. So having a chronic illness and having to deal with that and the way she's handled it throughout her whole life, really not paying much attention to it, it's no big deal, teaches other people that there's ways to deal with chronic illness besides running to Western medicine. And that's exactly how Jenny deals with her physical health. She doesn't worry about it. She doesn't make it a big deal. She shows other people that it's something that you just manage. You just handle it. It doesn't stop you from doing anything. There's absolutely no limitations with regard to it. And that's very unusual in this day and age. And it's a wonderful way to look at things. And I said, that's brilliant. That does sound like something she planned, actually. And Lyra says, yeah, I'm feeling strongly about that at the moment. It was purposeful. I said, so is there anything that we can heal? And she said, no, not right now. But I think, because I still think there's a little bit of work that she's got to do with regard to that. And I said, that's an amazing insight, Lyra. Thank you. Am I still talking to Lyra? She said, yes. So, okay, that's amazing. She said, I have a very large smile on my face right now. I'm glad that you asked about that because I do believe that maybe in a couple years, that specifically with your help, maybe she may be able to get rid of that. And I said, and also, I think, or we understand, that we're going to have a lot more access to higher technology. And she says, oh, definitely. Said, okay. And yeah, people will be more accepting of it, so she won't be needing to show them how to live with a chronic illness. She says, exactly. I said, so this is a kind of bridge? Yeah, definitely. That's a good way of putting it. So, well, and it's funny because she didn't even have this as a question. I prompted this for her. It probably bothers me more than it bothers her. So this is great. I said, okay, let's be honest. Well, we know that she's had many lifetimes in the elemental realm because she's been shown so many of them today. Are you more of a humanoid form, Lyra? She said, yes, I would say. I look a bit different than a typical human, shall we say. I have more of a glow. I said, more light? Yes. Can you choose your form? No. Okay. No, definitely not shape-shifting. I mean, I look the way I look, period. I said, do all of your race look like that? Yes. Okay. She has some other questions. So while we continue to heal her heart about the animals and all of that, I'm wondering if I can. And she said, "You're making me," and she's giggling. I said, well, this is fun. This is a fun one. And I know that you're going to know the answer to this. She's always doodling with her finger, because this was one of her questions. She's writing words and doodling stars and hearts. What is that? Is that her light language? What is it? She writes stories for the children. I said, what children? She says, our children. I mean, she's never actually done it in her humanoid form, but it's something that she always wanted to do. I said, she wants to write children's stories. She says children's stories about very specific content too. The stars and the arrows and the hearts all come from that elemental realm of writing stories about things that children don't think are real, but she wants to let them know that they are real. And I said, Earth children? She said, the Earth children. And so the arrows come from the elves' arrows. The hearts are always surrounding the elementals. There's always hearts. And who doesn't want to top that off with beautiful stars in our sky? I said, wow. I said, so writing these stories is something that, and she's done it. She used to write stories too. And I said, here on Earth? And she said, she's done it, but it wasn't to the children. I said, is she transmitting this back to your planet or your children where you are, Lyra, as she's doodling? She says, yeah, they can feel it. The children up here know when she's doodling and it makes them smile. And I said, but the 3D children need a little more help. And she said, they need more visuals. Okay. I said, well, that's beautiful. Is there something that she can work on in the future to write stories or draw things for the children? She said, definitely, definitely. I will help encourage her to do that. I said, I think she would love that. She's so creative. She is a very creative person in this life, which leads to the next question. Kids adore her, as do animals, but she hasn't had any in this lifetime, meaning children. She has lots of animals. And she said, because she's got to take care of all the rest, Lyra said. I said, yeah? Lyra said she never had any strong desire to have any children herself. So the whole reason that kids are drawn to her is because she does have that childlike quality. When they have a conversation with her, they light up. She lights up. Her eyes sparkle. And when she smiles, it makes the children smile. It's almost like she's taking them along on a fairy book journey, just having a conversation with them. And that's exactly where she's supposed to be. I said, well, that's a wonderful insight. Thank you. So we've answered so many of her questions. I'm just going to go down her list, if you don't mind. We're doing really well here. She wondered if she was connected with the Andromeda constellation, the Andromeda area in any way. And she said no. I said, would you say her star family is yours? She said yes. I said, so from Lyra? I know that the Lyrans were scattered throughout this galaxy. Is there any primary area for her to work with, or just Lyra in general? She said, yeah, just Lyra in general. I think the reason she feels a connection to Andromeda is simply a 3D thing. Growing up as a humanoid, they would use Andromeda in a lot of 3D shows and things like that. She can just let that go. So, okay. And she has a fear of being in a motor vehicle accident. Is there any reason for that you can share with us? She said, oh, there's no doubt. She was removed from the Earth plane at one point, definitely in an accident in one of her lifetimes. I said, and I think we were starting to bounce there, but we wanted to bring you through. And so can we take that away since that was another lifetime? Let's leave that in another lifetime. Are you able to help with that? She said, I can't help with that particular piece. Okay. I said, well, can we bring through maybe her higher self? Or can we do that? Unless there's more you want to say to us. You've done so much, answered so many questions for us. It's an absolute pleasure, Lyra, to meet you. And Lyra says, I've been waiting for this for such a long time. And I said, well, I'm so excited to meet you. And I said, we'll talk again. But, again, I'm asking to bring through Jenny's higher self. But Lyra didn't want to leave. She said, sure, I can help bring that through and get rid of that fear of, let's just wash it away. So now she is going to wash away that fear of the motor vehicle accident. Okay. I said, is there anything that she needs to know about it? Fine. She said, yes, no one was hurt in that accident. And I said, but was she killed? Yes, but nobody else, I should say. And I know that was always playing on her mind. Okay, I said, and so it was another lifetime, and now that she's aware of that, she can let it go. Lyra said she can let it go. I said, because you're not leaving the earth plane until it's your time. She said, exactly. And she has learned, she has figured that out. I said, sometimes stuff gets stuck in the DNA. She said, yeah. So I'm still speaking to Lyra. And she says, I can prompt her higher self to come in more frequently and remind, but it's got to be something that she does. I said, she's got to ask for it? Yes. And I said, because she can be stubborn. And Lyra's laughing. She said, oh, yeah. She said, why is she afraid? Another question. Why is she afraid of the dark? Not afraid of, but she dislikes the dark. She gets melancholy and depressed when the sun goes down. And because, laughing again, that's pretty simple. Just because she's walking light. And that's how she wants to be all of the time. It's just who she is. And I said, yes, I agree. We need to fill her with light, though, because she radiates so much to everyone else. Sometimes she uses her own energy. Lyra says, oh, without a doubt. I said, so we need to help her learn that she just radiates. She doesn't need to use her own energy. So again, I'm bringing that source light through her again, and you can probably feel it. And Lyra says, let's change she starts playing with it with her friends now. Let's change the frequency a little bit. Me and my friends, it's more of a chime now frequency. I said, oh, do your magic. And she said, very, very pitter-patter, light, soft, sweet sounds that vibrates in the entire body. Oh, I can feel her 3D body vibrating right now. It's beautiful. We're just filling her up. And I said, just fill her up to overflowing. That's great. So just a couple more questions. Are there any lessons that she brought into this life that she's not aware of or that she's not working toward? Lyra says, yes, but she's not ready for them yet. I said, okay. She said, she learned from us. And I said, what is that one? One more thing. She said, we are a race of peace, harmony, joy. And that is the epitome of who she is at her core. That's what she wants to see. And sometimes she gets frustrated when people around her don't get that. That's part of the lesson that she's on Earth, to help prepare people to see that. That's the only way. So she's definitely needed in this shift, and that's why she's here now. Lyra says, oh, definitely. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Sometimes I do notice that she wants to run for cover. And I said, well, that's understandable. And I said, the fallout's crazy here. She said, right. And just curl up and turn on some beautiful frequencies and be creative. She does do that. For the most part, she's out giving it her best. We're very proud. I said, that's beautiful. I definitely think that she needs to collect some of that energy back and to fill her cup up before she gives to others. And Lyra says, yes, we never want anybody, their cup to be empty. I said, no, and she'll do it because she puts others first. And Lyra said, that's when we need to remind her to reach out to us more. I said, yes, please do. Give her those nudges. She's ready. She's ready to take the next step. Don't you agree? And Lyra says, oh, definitely. I said, well, that's beautiful. So all of what she's going to do in the new earth will come in perfect timing, correct? Lyra says, exactly when it's supposed to happen. It will just happen. I said, well, just a few more. So her lesson is to anchor this energy on earth, the peace, the love, the harmony, and the love of animals and the love of earth is there. And she interrupted and she said, her friends are very important. Friends, and I know that, yes, being around like-minded friends is very important to her. And I know it's very disappointing to her when her friends and family don't get it. We'll say that in a nice way. I said that. Yeah, I know it's very, sorry, this is Mina. She said her friends are very important. Friends, and I know, yes, being around like-minded friends is very important. Then I said, and I know it's very disappointing to her when her friends and family don't get it. We'll say that in a nice way. It's very disappointing to her. Is there anything you can say to her to help with some of that disappointment? I know it wounds her very deeply. Lyra says, stay the course. Remember that at their core, all family and all friends, whether they be, currently at the core, there's still love. I think that that's really important for all of us to remember right now as things are being insanely crazy. I said, yes, that's a very good thing to help her remember, and all of us. Something for all of humanity to remember. Everyone is love. We're all from the same source, but it's tough. So if you could help her remember that when she has a particularly tough day with friends and family and coworkers and the nonsense going on planet Earth right now, thank you. And thank goodness it will be over soon. I know, right? And she said, I'm so very grateful to have this opportunity. And I said, I'm so grateful to you for coming through. A couple more questions, and then I think we'll bring Jenny back because it's been quite a while. Is there any people in her life, some of the more important ones, obviously her husband, is there anything she needs to know with regard to him? Any karma? I know she worries. Definitely. All she needs to do is just continue to keep an astute eye on him because he won't always tell her truth about how he's feeling. He's had some medical issues and he doesn't share until after the fact, because he knows that she worries. And there's something else that's trying to come in here that I'm trying to sort out. Give me a second. It really is okay to let go of those that are dragging her down. And I said, she knows who they are. Yes. She's just reluctant because she hangs into the end. I said, yes. And because it's been a long, long, long relationships. Some of them have been around for a very long time, and in this life, Jenny is struggling with that. A lot of people weighing her down, and it's been very difficult. So, and I said, some other lifetimes as well. And she said, yes. And she says, there's a lot of things that are flying in right now. I may need to go. I think I need to get back up to my home base. I said, okay, thank you, Lyra, for being here with us. She said, it was my absolute pleasure. I hope that I was helpful. I said, you were so helpful. Thank you so very much. I hope to meet you again. She said, that would be lovely. I said, yes, you know where to find us. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. I said, you too. Enjoy. Thank you. We're just going to gently bring her back now. So, Lyra left, and we began to bring Jenny back to full consciousness, and it was so much fun. This was just such a really, really, really fun session. When Jenny came back, she was still really high, and she had a headache from all of the energy. And she said, "Woo, I have a headache." And we were able to take that away because she was still somewhat in the trance phase, and definitely took the headache away, and boom, it was gone. So we got everything to move and then grounded her, and that's that. So again, sometimes these are so much fun. There's so much detail, and you never know what's going to happen in one of these sessions. And so it was my pleasure to share this with you. If any of you want to experience a BQH session, all of my information is in the description. So have a wonderful day. Love you all. Bye.